Chelsea, we're.
Hello, hello.
We were.
Hello, hello. You hear me, Jacka?
I can. Yes, I can. Thank you. FYI, I've got to hop off at 6:30 for about 5 minutes to take care of some medical issues. So I'll be back. I'll be back after 5 minutes. So
Okay, no worries. So we start. We recording. All right, I'd like to open the Town of Millis Board of Health meeting for March 9th, 2026 at 6:03 PM.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. First on our agenda for the nurses report.
I'm giving the Board of Health nurse report for February 2026. The cases we saw, there were 4 flu cases, 5 COVID, and 5 Lyme cases. Flu and COVID cases continue to decrease as you would expect at this time of year. Lyme continues to be present. Plans continue with the Council on Aging for the Senior Health Fair. The Board of Health will have a table with information about the Board of Health services and health-related topics. Special attention will be paid to just having information about Lyme disease, how to prevent it, how to treat it, and how it's diagnosed. Speakers at this fair will be a counselor on substance use. There will be a hearing screening room available, and there'll be a speaker on Alzheimer's disease. And there will be 12 to 14 organizations providing tables. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday. Next.
6:05, got one.
It's okay, sure, so they don't have to stare at the back of my head. It's like, unless you want it. Maybe some more room too.
Bunny ears up.
Hey, that would be fine, hey. Thanks.
All right, 6:05.
Five oh five.
I'm just plucking it in. Yes.
The RGE Water Management Plan is going to be continued until the April meeting per request of RGE, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. You're gonna have to do anything with that.
I said, they don't even tell us that, huh?
Weird, yes.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see you next month on that. Right, 6:05 agenda RGE pool approval with variances, so let's open the agenda for pool variances meeting. All right, where does that?
Great,
Pool.
thank you very much, Madam Chair, and members of the board, and Mr. McVeigh. With me, my name is Bob Shelmerdine, I'm, on the Rules and Regulations Committee, and I'm a unit owner in, Regency at Glen Ellen. Tonight, we have with us, Carol Maloof. We have three trustees, 3 out of the 4 trustees, Carol Maloof, Deb Cantor, and Dennis O'Donnell. Larry Hirsch is also on Rules and Regs. He and I actually co-chair Rules and Regs. We've been in front of you the last 4 years, and so we're back at it. So we've got a pool that you all know about, I'm pretty sure. And we've got 324 units, and there's an active group that likes to use the pool. Interestingly enough, the pool numbers, even as we expanded, and there were more and more units to our cap of 324, which happened sometime last year. We've actually decreased attendance at the pool, which is still very active, but the numbers are slightly down across all boards. Last year we appeared in front of you, we made a request, and it was honored. We have and we submitted a motion, and the motion was made on June 30th, actually, of 2025. This year, we've got a few more requests in front of the Board of Health, if we may. And what I think the simplest and easiest way for us to have done that was to take last year's motion and just redline and add redline. I have copies for anybody, if you want to have a copy in writing. You go. So I've actually got 8 copies, so in the audience who wants to
People than we have.
look at that as well, that'd be great.
Okay, this is what they added, anyway, makes sense. Other one, I'll take that up for this. Yeah, maybe that's it. Red. This is out all together, this would be, you can understand this. I think so.
So I don't have a color printer, but it's language that's struck through is our request to delete, and added, underlined is added. I thought what I'd do is go down, there aren't many changes or requests, but I thought what I'd do is just go down, make a real quick presentation on the full, and then we can go back and have individual conversations. So just to refresh everybody's memory, last year we had all the peak hours are 10 in the morning to 6 at night. We had 2, there's an A and a B under the peak hours. And it's pretty simple. If we have guests who are both adult and children, but they're non-residents, lifeguards will be required. Last year, and then B was if we don't have, if the guests are not permitted, then we can have a pool attendant. So that was the big change for last year. How we've changed the peak hours is we found that we'd like to provide for breaks for the lifeguards. Last year, we pretty much was an awful lot of 4-hour shifts. So during that 8 hours, 4-hour shift allows, you know, a 2 o'clock lunch, or you can go home and whatever. But I think what we'd like to do is when guests are permitted and we are required to have lifeguards for a 30-minute period or of no more than 30 minutes. We'd like pool attendants, and we'll get into a definition of what that is, to be substituted during the lifeguards during their lunch break, but for no more than 30 minutes. We'd like to keep the same, if we don't have guests, then we don't need, we only need pool attendants. If we don't, if we don't have guests, so we don't need lifeguards under 1B. We'd like to request, and C is one of the requests, for periods prior to Memorial Day and after Labor Day. So before Memorial Day and after Labor Day, we'd like to have a buddy system. Now, a buddy system means that we have to have at least 2 people in the pool. You can't swim alone, unattended. But we'd like to be able to have just the buddy system, and the adult swimming has to be a resident, cannot have guests during that period. And I can analogize that situation to when we get down to the non-peak hours under 2, the Board of Health has almost from the beginning allowed us to have this buddy system from 8 to 10 in the morning and 6 to 8 at night. And that allows people to obviously swim during that time. You don't need a lifeguard, don't need a pool attendant. Essentially, the numbers of people are down during those hours. We think that prior to Memorial Day, the numbers are equally going to be down during that period of time and subsequent to Labor Day as well. So we'd like to expand that buddy system into prior to Memorial Day and subsequent to or after Labor Day as well. Only residents, no guests, no children. Non-peak hours stay the same, 8 to 10, 6 to sundown. Lifeguard sign remains the same. Limit on swimmers. The only thing we changed on the limit of swimmers with a sign is we've added for each lifeguard. So if there's a time when we think there's going to be, you know, where it's going to be a holiday weekend or whatever, and we want to add a second lifeguard during the peak hours, then we can do that. Before, it's just a limit on 25 swimmers. So what CMR indicates is you should have 1 lifeguard for every 25 swimmers. So small change.
Sorry, can you remind me what the pool size limit is?
Yeah, so when you ask me what the pool size limit is, I'm always confused with
Oh,
this
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I'm making the assumption.
Because there's a
that it's limited
bather,
on-
there's a bather load.
Yeah, yeah, whatever the regulation says.
Yeah, so,
Maybe just a statement for a bit. The 25 swimmers was designed because they wanted just 25 no matter what the size of the pool was. That's what my understanding is. That was,
But no more
That
than
was-
25
that was
people
it.
in the pool at once.
because you know you could put almost 60 people in here if you keep adding, you know, lifeguards to this pool. This way, 25 is 25, considered very safe.
Absolutely.
That's because I remember this, I asked the same question when I got here, they said, we want it to be, people to be safe all the time. 25 just allows it better than having the 50 or 60, even though they have the ability to do it because of the volume of the pool. Have 2 or 3 lifeguards, but still, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things that way, so just telling you.
John, can you tell me who we is?
Hmm?
You said that we want it to be a certain size. Curious where that idea.
I
came
think it
from.
was. I think Jack Howe was there.
Okay, so it was the
Check.
board. That's what I didn't know. I just want to make sure it was the board. I just didn't know if it
Yeah.
was, if there were other things that were influencing it as well.
so I think what John is referring to is, as you've just, I think, determined that that's a determination by the local board of health. Statute says 1 lifeguard per 25 swimmers. That's just to allow for an expansion up. Obviously, the capacity of the pool enters into those kind of questions and those kind of concerns as well.
Well, I guess that was actually the question, but this was tangentially related was, do you guys have a sign that says max load or something? I just can't remember.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
What is that number?
Yeah, so
In the lifeguard training and the rules that we have embedded right in here is no more than 25 swimmers at any one time. Not allowed to be physically in the pool.
Okay,
Do you guys have a permit for your pool?
yes,
Cause it
well,
says,
not yet, but
well,
we did for last year, yes.
but it said on the permit should have the bather load capacity.
Yes, it has all
on the
that.
permit.
So I'm looking at here's the permit,
Okay,
so I'll read to you what the numbers are.
alright, cause they
And-
actually got.
and I-
load.
And I think there's a misunderstanding between bather load and capacity. If you look at CMR, bather load is determined by not the size of the pool. But now bather load is determined not by the size of the pool, but by the size of the facilities that you have, the bathroom facilities, the washroom facilities and those toilets and those kind of things. I believe that our bather load is 170. And it says right here, maximum pool capacity persons on this permit, 107. So 170 is a big stretch, so I think these numbers are actually flipped. There's a bather load, which is 25, right here on the application and the permit. And then a maximum pool capacity is 170, I think it should be switched. Bather load is a definition that comes out of things besides the capacity of the pool. I can't actually find a limitation by square footage in CMR. I'm talking
I
about,
got it in front of me.
okay,
It's 435.27, that's the bather load capacity.
yeah,
And it says under section 2, in order to compute swimmer bather capacity, swimming wing pool area should be determined as follows. A, 15 square feet of pool water service shall be provided in the non-swimmer area for each non-swimmer expected at the time of maximum load. B, 20 square feet shall be provided in the swimming area for each swimmer expected at the time of maximum load. C, 300 square feet of pool water surface area shall be reserved around each diving board or diving platform. I don't think you have one.
We don't have that.
Okay. D, 100 square feet of pool water service shall be reserved around each slide.
We don't have that either.
And then bather load capacity shall be stated on the permit. D 105 CMR 435.21,
on that difference between,
inside the pool and outside the pool.
no, there's two calculations depending on depth of the pool.
And you guys are all 5 feet, right?
4 feet is
Four
the
feet.
deepest. There's a 3 foot,
Okay.
3.5 foot swath in the middle, that's 4 feet deep, and then it goes down to 18 inches at the
So
steps on
you're-
either side.
So you would 15, for the calculation 15, no matter what. Right,
So it's 15
Right.
square feet. It's
as opposed to non,
for 4 feet and less. Carol, can you read that again in the CMR for 4 feet or less? I think it said 4 feet, doesn't it?
It doesn't have depth, it just has,
I always thought it was 5.
How many square
A,
feet?
15 square feet of pool water service area shall be provided for non-swimmer in each area for non-swimmer expected at time maximum load. And then B, 20 square feet shall be provided in the swimming area for each swimmer expected at time maximum load. So we need to know how many square feet your pool is.
Okay, so the square feet of the pool is 2,570 square feet. That's what's on this. So actually, this application or this Board of Health says swimming area square feet, none. Non-swimming area square feet, 2,570. Because I think
So
the difference between swimming area and non-swimming area is determined by the depth of the pool, somewhere else in CMR.
that would make sense.
I think it's determined by, so it's 15 square feet for
Right.
every,
Yeah.
I don't know my calculator here.
I think you're looking at 210 people are allowed in this pool
Yeah,
and 8 lifeguards.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay,
how big is this pool?
Well, 2000, well,
it's 70 foot length
yeah, 70,
and 45 foot width.
yeah,
And you do the calculations, 210 people are allowed in the pool, and it's 8 lifeguards.
So I'll be
you put in
standing
there.
like this.
130 people in pool be very safe because nobody's moving.
Yeah, right. I know, but the problem is that, you know, some people, when they are drowning, they're covered. No one knows, you can't see them as a
Yeah.
lifeguard, they're on the,
Yeah,
you never know.
we can get back to this
so-
if you want.
I've got so I looked up, what's the difference between swimmer area and non-swimming area? According to the Mass Association of Health Boards, areas 5 feet or less are considered non-swimmer areas.
And we don't have anything more than 5 feet.
Right,
So it's all non-swimmers. So if you calculate 15, if you divide 2,570 square feet
210,
by
yeah.
115, you come up with, this is, my calculator's probably,
It's 15.
yeah, I got. But it's 15. If you divide
71,
2,570 square feet by 15, you come up with 171
yeah. that's-
swimmers, and we don't want that. We don't have 170 people that swim in the pool, we just don't. So I think the math is,
Well, the reason I asked, by the way, was
Sure.
I was just trying to understand. If we were to agree to some of the things that you're saying,
Sure.
would we want to have a maximum limit in some of these special cases or not? But just trying to understand what the limitation is in general.
I don't think there's certainly a maximum out there, I don't think we have a problem with a maximum, so we have had. If you do the math, I didn't send you our pool statistics for this year, we do have those pool statistics. But there are only the 4 hours between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock are the heaviest used. And I don't think we get over 25. If we do, we get over, 25 people that signed in and stayed. They don't necessarily in the pool at the time, but we're very rarely on the average more than 25. And then it obviously tails off in the morning and the after that from 5 to 6. So
The most comparable statistic I think we have is for the non-peak hours, when we're talking about the extension time that we have. So from 8 to 10 in the morning and from 6 PM to sundown, when we don't have lifeguards and they're allowed to use buddy system. The most people that we had for the entire summer last year on any one given day in those hours was 18 one time. And the average was 8.2 people. So usually there's between 6 and a dozen that come for that 2, and most of them aren't there for the entire 2 hours. Like a lot of people still work in our community, they come home at 5 o'clock. They'll come home from work, they'll change and they run down to the pool for a quick dip to cool off and then they go home. Very seldom do you see people sitting on the lounge chairs, between 6 and 8 at night. And in the morning, the 8 to 10 people usually go. People who like to do laps when there's no one in the pool, they just, swim back and forth. So the numbers that we anticipate for the, early May and post Labor Day would probably be most akin to the off-peak hours that we have now, where we don't anticipate more than 12, so way under the 25, level.
And just to give you some kind of concept of 24 to 25, just the off-peak hours and how attendance has dipped. We had in 2024 in the morning, 8 to 10, we had 321 people signed in, or persons signed in, the same person. And then we had 114 at the PM peak. In 2025, we only had 231. 321 down to 231, 90 people less. And the same number is for 114 in 2024 down to 83. So somehow the fascination with the pool when you first move in seems to be. So I think these are numbers that are pretty easily understood and pretty easily controllable in terms of, I think, people really honoring what we have asked for and what we've done. So if I could just get back, we've asked for shoulder periods. We've asked for potentially a pool attendant for lunch breaks for the lifeguards in 1A, 1C. We've asked for shoulder periods before Memorial Day, after Labor Day, the same kind of buddy system. Each lifeguard, we can talk about that if you'd like. we've eliminated the late absence time slots because we realize that 1B really pretty much fills the bill if we don't have guests. The late absence time slots were voluntary pool attendants if we couldn't find somebody else. A lifeguard to fill in. We realize that under 1B, we can have the pool attendants, we have to get rid of the guests anyway, so it's pretty much a wash, so we kind of eliminated something that was a little bit, more difficult to understand. Finally, the last thing is, defining pool attendant, to any adult 21 years or older who may be an RGE resident, and shall have the following duties listed out on the following qualifications. I'd like to note that last year we were setting ourselves up for the after September for pool attendants. And while we didn't have that much luck in finding pool attendants offsite, we did find, there were 6 people, there were RGE residents, one of them is a nurse. And all of them, they all took this CPR, first aid CPR and AED course. They were all certified. And for one reason or another that we didn't engage them to do that, but they are now set up to be pool attendants. And we'd like to see if we can have somebody that's even possibly an RGE resident, but certainly over 21 years of old. So those are the 1, 2, 3, really 4 requests. Request a late time absence, not really a request, so I will stand here and listen to any questions that you guys have.
Okay,
Quick question.
go ahead.
The one that on C, about having a buddy,
Mhm.
the question I have is, how do you know that buddy would, be able to rescue? You know what I'm saying?
Right, so I don't think the point was to have that person rescue, so that would be more along the lines of a pool attendant. But it would be an adult and it's the buddy system, you're never supposed to swim alone, that's kind of a rule of thumb, and we have some people that get up in the morning and like to swim, they've got to tag along their spouse or somebody else who would swim with them. I think the more important task that they would function, at least certainly during the shoulder hours, maybe the shoulder months,
Down 911.
is to dial 911 to get in the pool. If it's a 4-foot pool or a 5-foot pool, I mean, it's not over anybody's head. And you can potentially assist, get on the speaker and dial. We do have a landline that's available. We can dial 911. And so I think that's what that's why we added the buddy
If
system.
I can interject too.
Sure, please.
Witnessing and seeing what that looks like, it's fellow swimmers. So they're agile, fit, healthy people. They're not somebody sitting in a chair watching somebody swim. They're all going to do those laps. That's almost exclusively what's happening in the early morning hours, the 8 to 10. Nobody's there for fun per se. They're there to do laps. They're all, with each other. And so my sense of comfort is that they're all very fit, able, capable people. So that covers that piece of it. And the only other thing I'll say about the pre-memorial, especially the pre-memorial, the chances of people really doing much because of weather is really not much of a concern. I think that last week in May might be where we start to hear some grumbling about, God, I wish we could access that pool. It's warm and we could be starting our exercise there. So it's not most of May, it's like more likely the last half of May.
May 15th, maybe.
More likely later.
Even most Memorial Days have been pretty cold,
Yeah.
dreary, so.
And when we looked at the buddy system, it was more along the lines of another responsible adult. So if the person who's swimming, even if that person doesn't, we have a phone installed right at the foot of the pool. that's direct dial to Millis, fire. And so if there's an emergency, they said call number, so it's at least, there is an emergency, the buddy is the person who can make that call until such time as, help is there and help that person, not necessarily perform life. Jump in the pool and do what a lifeguard would do to help that person, but at least physically be able to be with them, call and help them.
We also, the pool area itself was one of the first built, and then there are a lot of units that are built around it. So it's certainly within yelling distance of, 10, 12 units that you could call for assistance and then call for assistance on the phone, so.
No, it's not remote.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
It's very
It
much
isn't.
surrounded by.
It's a tight community.
The clubhouse on one entire side of it and then homes on 3
Right.
other sides. So it's very exposed.
I'm just curious, are there official like open and close dates for the pool? Meaning like every May 15th or whatever, I'm just.
It's, well, it's not May at this time. It's always the Memorial Day weekend is when our staffing and
Right,
staffing starts. Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day.
right.
So that's the,
Yeah,
those are the
that's the
actual
official
dates.
So for this coming summer, that would be May 23rd until September 7th, Labor Day, that would be the official. So what we're asking for is Bob called the shoulder or the wraparound, pre-Memorial Day opening and post.
Well, and the reason I asked is not that I think this would happen, but like, it's pretty nice outside. I could imagine people being like, open the damn pool. But I didn't know if you guys had a thought of, no matter, let's just pretend we say, yeah, this is all great. Would you decide, all right, we're not opening the pool before May 1st ever, or we're making sure we close it by October 1st, or I'm just curious if you've thought about what that might look like.
Absolutely.
Because we actually have to have it treated, right? It's formally closed. So
Right,
it's
that's kind of what I was
covered.
getting.
We have it.
Yeah, when is the
So-
formalness of it?
We did cover
I don't know if you've seen the contract, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys have seen the
Yeah.
contract, what is the contract date for the, so we have a pool company who is coming
We
out,
certainly do.
unveils the pool. And then does all the treatment, however many
Yeah.
days that takes for them to do that, and then we have the pool doors locked. People can't access
during that
them.
time.
Oh, yeah.
So in
all
there,
the-
yeah.
It's locked until we
Yeah.
open them, and then they're automated, locked and automated open based on when we
in their contract is
switch.
as of April 1st, they're engaged. That's the day we have to make the pool area available to them. Take the cover off, clean it, clean the deck, put out the furniture, check the pumps. Also work together collaboratively, Town of Millis Board of Health, filing the permits, getting the water tested. So they have that April 1 to May 1 to perform all the opening functions where no swimming is allowed in the pool area.
May I ask a question? Is this a new company you hired?
Yes.
Okay, because I know someone had emailed me 2 months ago. It seemed like they were new.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they're now formally providing all the staffing, which we're quite excited about, because they have made some assurances about now. We'll see how that goes,
Yeah.
but the assurances they've made are that, within 15 minutes, they will replace a call out. So we're expecting. Honestly, to not have a lot of scenarios. I think we might have had 2 or 3 last year anyhow, where we were needing that pool attendant, oh my God, we got a person called out, and in most of the cases, we weren't able to.
We were closing down.
We were shutting down.
Shut it down.
And it is what it is, and people understand and they recognize that nobody's been rogue and gone and said, well, the heck with you, we're gonna go do it anyway. So, obviously, we have mature compliant residents in our development, but. What this pool company is claiming, Barkan, our HOA management company, no longer wants the responsibility of hiring, training and staffing pool attendants, so they've taken that off of their list of to-dos. We have this company who's now gonna provide all trained and professionally staffed pool, and they assure us that they have extras in the waiting for any last minute cancellation or illness call out. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, we do know from others that have used this company, that this works. So
We have
it has to be a better summer this year than last. So. You gonna provide for lunch break for staff?
We have to. We have to.
They don't. Big
The
exception,
lunch
yeah.
break, the way it works in the contract, and this is what we think is just not good, is that the people will get out of the pool. And the lifeguard will take a lunch break. As a former lifeguard, that doesn't happen. There's always some sort of way that you stick around and just, or something, or you take your lunch break. And people are supposed to get out of the pool and they don't. It's just, it's very hard to work and people just don't wanna do that. So that's why I would think if we have a pool attendant attending during that period of time, it just is, if the swim continues and the lifeguard can take a break, knowing that no one's in danger, people are being watched, and they just go back from the lunch break.
Yeah. I mean, there's always to continue to tweak this, so one of them, as I think about it out loud, is that if we established a lunchtime, whether the lifeguard chose to take it or not, or the shifts split in two, had a lifeguard earlier and then a lifeguard later. If we suggested, and this might be something we've been talking to the company about, a specific time that will be the half-hour shutdown, it will never surprise anybody, because I'm a pool goer. I like, if I can, getting down there a couple hours of the day when I'm not slammed. And I saw a lot of tearful little ones and people who just don't, it's hard, right? Like, get out of the pool. If we had a set time, that could be everybody's planned time to take their break with the little toddlers, get them their little lunch outside the pool area, and that would be a perfect world in my mind. It's every day at 1:30. It's that half-hour break. I don't know if that pool company thinks that's something.
I think it's pretty smart. It's like what CVS does, right?
I was-
You just know not to go to CVS at 1:30.
1:30.
You just get used to that.
You just get used to it, and you
And it
know
will
I'm
help
not,
us.
right.
It will help
I
us
like
to
that.
schedule pool attendance too,
Right.
knowing that these are the hours for it,
That's a good point.
so.
Right, so I don't know why I haven't thought of that before, but.
This isn't evolved.
Thinking out
It's
loud is
evolving, yes, yeah, exactly.
Well,
That is something.
But at
to
the
think about.
prescription counter saying, oh, it's 1:30, I guess.
Right.
As a
Right.
pharmacist, I never had that. I have to pull out the e-drawer and eat my sandwich.
Yeah, so that would alleviate a lot of tears,
Agreed.
which, and maybe be able to help the pool attendants plan.
Starting with that 30-minute lunch break, pool attendant is not a lifeguard, they're not trained the same way, and
They were
we got
trained,
children in that
as-
pool.
Right, but what
No,
they're
so-
saying
yeah.
is that everyone would still come out, but if they know when it is every single time,
Yeah,
the predictability makes it easier for people to do it.
We
And then
didn't
if
plan
they're-
that schedule ahead of time, yeah.
Right, and then for people that are residents who don't have guests, they can stay put.
they can stay put, so the only people out would be the
yes, the
kids.
kids,
Guests and
That's
kids,
correct.
right.
yeah.
Bummer for them.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, we belong to some cool thing, I can't remember Franklin, and they have an every 50 minutes the kids get out.
Yeah.
It is hard
It
to,
is.
they spend 10 minutes pulling everyone out, and then it's time to go back
15
in.
minutes, right? What is that, like adult swim? That's
It's supposed to be an adult swim thing,
Yeah.
and it's usually like
At the Adirondack?
95%, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
So I get that, if you can be predictable, that can be very helpful, especially with
Yeah.
kids
Absolutely.
and guests.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Let's see.
I'm curious if Jack has any, because I know that,
And she stepped away.
oh, did she step away right now? 6:30, yeah,
Yes.
you probably, yeah, we definitely want to hear from her, because I know she has. I don't know if I want to say it, I don't want to say strong opinions, but she has a vested interest in this, maybe is the way I would put it.
Why 21 for the pool attendant?
Mhm.
Just, why 21 for pool attendant?
That was something I added. I just thought it should be an adult pool attendants. We didn't define before.
Yeah. We saw-
And we were thinking about going outside to get a pool attendant, and quite frankly, the pool attendants are harder to get than lifeguards, curiously enough, for us anyway, that was our experience. So I just thought I'd put a minimum, there's gonna be an adult.
I remember we talked about it before, because we were like, is an 18-year-old right or not, or?
It's just that you don't want a 13-year-old kid telling somebody that kids can't swim now. for 15
Right,
minutes,
yeah.
so.
Even if you were 19, that can be difficult
Oh,
to,
believe you me, it's a lot, it's very hard to get young adults to feel confident speaking to older adults about what they can and can't do. It's hard.
Even the lifeguards one last summer, both Bob and I had talked to them and said, you are the authority here. It is okay for you to tell these adults to follow the rules. So, but it's hard because easily adults can be very assertive with young kids. And take advantage of the fact that some kids won't speak up, they're weak.
Yes.
Let's say for 1A. If we were to allow pool attendance for that 30-minute lunch break, you need to specify no guests and no kids in that pool.
Right,
Okay.
yes, good point.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I know it's in here and that we've all agreed on it, but having it
It's not
spelled
in
out.
there, but that specific
Fine.
point.
Yeah, you don't mention it.
I was
Also-
also thinking for C, it isn't maybe as well spelled out there, and maybe I'm remembering that 5 was like really well spelled out, so I don't know how you get, like, at the end part where it says no guests, adult, whatever, et cetera. So I would just encourage all of us to decide if 1C needs to be a little more language or if it's fine how it is.
Embed some of
I think there's nothing wrong with adding that language of in those shoulder months, no guests, no children would be permitted.
Yeah.
I have no, I would just add that at the end, yes.
Take the language from 5, Matthew, and we'll embed it into,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about the, no, I mean, we say residents only, but the flip side of that is no guests at all, no
Right.
adults, no
Yeah.
children.
Just spell
Right.
it out, I think that's.
Add that to
Just
it,
for safety.
let there be no doubt.
Well, and honestly, for me, it was part of it is you guys are gonna take this back to your residents. They weren't part of the discussion. So that way it's just so clear to everyone.
Right.
But I know you guys.
Right, right. And, you know, curiously enough, I think that there are a lot of people up there in RG, but there are some pool crazies that swim a lot and some don't swim at all. So I think there's a close community of pool swimmers and I think they all know the rules backwards and forwards.
And they also really, I have to say that the Board of Health has been amazing working with us. And learning to trust that we are really trying to work with you and partner with you on this, and they understand how hard it's been, right? Like it's been a process of building a relationship and gaining trust with one another and being able for us to be able to provide supporting documents and prove what we're saying is accurate. And I know that they don't, those very committed swimmer people don't want to jeopardize that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they're the ones who are really pushing for, David Goldie, who's listening to us. He's our fourth board member, and he sent me a note to say, make sure you remind people that this is coming from the residents. They really want this May and September ability to swim.
Especially September.
Yeah, especially September, but, you know, so, I think they understand how hard this, you know, it's been a process and.
Yeah.
They don't want to jeopardize that.
But unfortunately, last September, right after Labor Day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it was 90 degrees.
I know.
That's how that goes.
So we took a lot of grief for that.
Totally failed. Well, that's the thing.
And I'll just add, I think there's a silver lining in this, in that. When we had all the more complicated stuff to work on, the water management and all that, there was already a report. And so we didn't have to deal with that. It was just, what do we do?
You know,
So I personally appreciate all of that.
thank you.
We go down to the 25 swimmers for each lifeguard issue, so I know you want to put a cap, some cap to that, right? Like up to
I wanted
50
to
or
bring
something,
it up.
you want, you know, for maximum in the pool period.
If you really want 130 people.
170
No,
is excessive, no, we would, no.
Well,
No, but if we, I mean, in theory, so let's start somewhere, right? If in theory, we had 2 professional lifeguards. That would give us a maximum of 50 people. I have been there when we had 25, and that was painful to see the 25, to be honest with you. I thought that was a very busy pool of 25s.
I would
So-
swim at 25.
It becomes a self-limiting factor.
Yeah.
Because it's so crowded that people should say, "Oh, I'm gonna get out of the pool.
So I thought it would be that, but also you're only gonna get some of the lifeguards. You're not gonna get 8 lifeguards.
No.
The reason,
Is the company gonna
No,
send you an extra?
right,
And who can afford them?
We're
They're not
not paying for
budgeted
next
for.
yeah, right. So I mostly asked because one, I was curious what the legal limits were.
Mhm.
I also, I mean, I guess as a board, we have the ability to exert authority, et cetera. But I wanted to make sure that we were somewhere reasonable
Mhm.
with what the legal limit is and that we weren't being reckless, which doesn't sound like we could be in comparison to what's allowed that no one wants.
Right. This is really, to put this in perspective too, I think the data I saw, it was the middle of, it was the 4th of July weekend. And it was a 95-degree, heat wave, and we had 44 people one day. So if it's only for one weekend, the entire summer, we're thinking this is not a major risk. It's something that is just an aberration, let's call it, more than anything else.
Right, it's a rarity and we might even be able to consider staffing or seeing if there's, an additional lifeguard on that one day, or that one weekend,
That would be the only weekend that we would
even
pay,
think about it.
because we're paying for a lifeguard, so we're not gonna.
Just curious, so even though you're paying a company, you're still paying for the lifeguards,
Yeah.
right? You're paying for the
Yeah,
access to their lifeguards.
Oh,
essentially.
Right.
Totally, by the hour.
Plus their fee, so it's a little, the lifeguard itself expense is a little bit higher. We're saving a little bit on they can buy cheaper, the chemicals and stuff, so it almost became a wash, so it was a win-win for us.
Yeah, less headache, probably.
And they're better
Less,
at
less
it.
headache.
It will be more expensive if we open during the outside season, so, but that we're willing to absorb.
The other conversation that happens, and it does not need to get blown out here, but it's an interesting conversation, is the people who are sitting at the edge of the pool dangling their feet. And is the definition of them a swimmer?
Right.
And I go, yes. Because that's what my rule of thumb was when I was down at the pool and the lifeguards were asking me, what do I do?
Yeah.
I'm saying if your body parts are touching water, you're a swimmer. Because you could fall in.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And so that was kind of my, but so when we talked even about the highest number of people that were over there, some were the sitters that were actually, completely in the water, but we counted them.
Now, there's another group, we have a platform where there's steps, and there's a group of people that just stand on the first step. And I have never, ever seen them in the water, other than 6 inches. Yeah.
We call that old man corner. My wife calls it something a little bit more in the vernacular, but we call that old man corner.
So we wouldn't consider those people swimmers, because they're not anywhere near the pool area, it's kind of a waiting pond, if you will.
So, I mean, I think to tell you.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
truth,
say Jack Carr is back.
Oh, good.
We've been waiting, Jack Carr, to make sure you had a chance to ask any questions. Sorry, I'm taking the repeat.
Oh, you can see.
And I've also been listening, so I haven't lost track of the conversation. I just lost video. So I haven't had a chance to look at what was sent over very thoroughly. So I'm going to ask a couple questions on the shoulder season, that the proposed part of the proposal change to the to last year's what do I want to say, permit. During that shoulder season, you're proposing having a buddy system, is that correct?
Yes,
So the buddy system, does that include either children and or guests, non-residents? So in other words, could a resident buddy up with a non-resident adult, for example?
no, only residents, no guests, adults or children of any kind.
Okay, is that spelled out in the, is that spelled out?
That was one of the conversations we had. We're gonna amend it to make sure. So the way it says, it's stated now, it's only residents. That's one side. The other side is, and no guests, adults or children.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Okay.
add that.
I think
Okay.
last year, you specifically said, if you have children, you're gonna have
Right.
a lifeguard, period, no matter
Right.
when or where it's gonna happen.
Right.
So we don't wanna, we're not gonna battle that issue.
Right, no,
Okay,
We also added the no guests and kids in the pool for that 30-minute lunch break.
Correct.
So it's only residents at that time, and they're gonna try and find if they can get a set time, so residents can know at 1 o'clock or whatever it is. This is when this time starts.
And meaning get a set time from whoever the lifeguard is. So in other words, that'd be part of the lifeguard contract that this is when lunch is. That
Yes.
lunch break, no matter when. Um,
Yep.
It'll involve a little training, but you know, I think we can get there.
I think Matt recommended the CVS theory, right? Or the example of CVS, the pharmacy is always closed at this time every day.
From 1:30
That's
to
just
2.
understood. So I think if we can apply that to our pool, this is the closure time, this is when lifeguards will have their break or be able to eat, then it's gonna be much easier to manage that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if, you know, things are usually easier when you're at the point of agreement than kind of coming back after the agreement's been signed with somebody, to then come down and say, you know, yeah, you know, we want lunch break to be at this time. So, you know, most people are used to a set time for a break or a lunch break, so I don't think that's a hard one to enact. Do I have anything else? No, those were my questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Do you wanna go and amend your?
Sure, what I'll do is, it'll be, so. I guess the motion that you would make, and then I'll follow this up with the specifics to John. The motion you would make is everything that's on the page here that I presented that's dated March 9th. There's a cross, there's a cross through the 6th. March 9th.
You guys gotta get this guy covered.
I know, sorry.
I do have a code.
Okay, all right, I'll send it to you. I'm gonna buy it going there. I bought one in Florida. So the amendments to what's on the page are in 1A, we're going to add, and no guests, meaning adults or children. The same is going to be added for 1C, no guests, adult or children. Apparently, we're also going to, I'm looking at the trustees, apparently, we're also going to add we will have a specific half hour for lunch breaks, and we can determine what that is, but it will be only a half hour for lunch breaks. And that'll go out so everybody knows. So 1, 2, 3 changes, and I think that's it.
Do you wanna add anything from number 5 to this?
Whatever they thought needed to be in there, but yeah, we kind of talked about it, then no guests, so like child friendly.
Right, if on 5, the second page, I'm gonna put a parentheses around no guests. And children shall be permitted to use the pool to any extent during this time, but on both A and C.
Right, and for number 4, they added for each lifeguard.
Yeah,
My personal feeling is that it's self-limiting, so it's acceptable language, we don't have to leave it at 25, but
I forgot about that.
if others on the board have feelings about that.
So leaving out for each lifetime. Is that the suggestion?
Well, I guess one of two, one is keep it, and then do we wanna have an upper limit, or do we say that it's a self-limiting thing, or do we say you don't? I guess those are the 3 options.
So from our point of view, we now have a cap at 25. Rarely do we go over that cap. There may be an impetus to wanna do that, maybe there'll be parties, but right now there's a cap at 25. I can't find a cap at 25. By the size of the pool, I can find a cap. We already determined we're gonna have 171.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. But the cap that I can find is you should have no more than 25 people in the pool at any one time per lifeguard. So this would allow us to have more than 25. Obviously, we have to get a lifeguard.
Right.
We're really not
We're not-
thinking about doing that.
Yeah, we don't really wanna do it. The only scenario I can think of that would even be possible would be if somebody wanted to have a pool party.
Right.
With adults,
Right,
and they requested that, they said, we have 50 people coming to our party, obviously not 50 people are necessarily going to go to a pool, at which point we would require them to have certified lifeguards that they're
Yes.
paying for
yes,
at our pool, understanding that it would require 2 lifeguards for the number of people they were having at that event. And we would have, you know, a set of a contract that they would sign agreeing to that, and that would be the only scenario I can even fathom.
Right.
I don't think we're permitted to rent it out during the
We
peak
actually,
season.
we don't rent it out.
We don't
So
rent it out.
we
We
have-
can't rent it out.
No.
We can't rent it out.
No,
It's owned by the
no.
residents.
I think
it's a
that's
moot
asking
point.
for
I just wanted to
problems.
make sure that we all
Company,
agreed on it since
the
it's.
lifeguard is there. In an unforeseen
Sure.
scenario, if they're not gonna wanna accept responsibility if there's other lifeguards there that are not from this
theirs.
company, that are theirs, how do you assign quote unquote blame if God forbid something? So
Right,
I can't see the company agreeing to us bringing in lifeguards other than
Theirs.
Yes, I do
Yeah,
not.
no, we would not rent it. I think that's a.
so I guess the question on the table is, do we leave the 25 cap, or do we add a lifeguard and come up with another cap?
Realizing that it's probably one day for the whole season.
So what's that number, like 35?
I can't imagine more than 30 people in the pool. to tell
I
you the
personally
truth.
feel like you just leave it how it is. I just wanted to make sure the board had a chance to weigh in since it's
Okay.
language.
So
I
leave it,
don't flexibility.
leave it with each lifeguard,
That's my impression.
okay,
One lifeguard per.
okay. For 25, okay.
Yeah, and if.
And then we
they really
can
wanna
figure
pay
out what
great
we wanna
lifeguards,
do.
then-
And we could arbitrarily set our cap at 35.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
comes in into,
Okay,
but that's pushing things.
so that's actually the fourth I missed, thank you, that's the fourth amendment. The, one B and
Number
one
four.
C are amendments, no guest adults or children at any time. One C is also at a specific time for lunch, and four is just allowing, what the state statute says, which is for each lifeguard.
Right.
Okay.
But one other question, just because I'm curious.
Sure.
We're talking about the pool attendants and that there's some folks on site that might want to do that. Do you have the same concern that you just did about lifeguards, that the company you're working with will either want to have a say over who the pool attendants are and that sort of thing? I guess you're gonna work that out.
We've had this conversation and we're not sure that we're prohibited. So it would be, the pool attendants would be times when the lifeguards aren't functioning like the.
So they're kind of
show,
gonna
taking
defer
their
to you
Right,
anyways.
like for lunch
Well, they're
or,
out for lunch,
Exact
right?
Conversation,
Yeah.
because our feeling is that exactly as Larry pointed out a few minutes ago, I don't think the full company is gonna be in any way, shape or form agreeable to our homegrown pool attendant who's been home trained to be working with their trained lifeguard. I can't see a scenario where that would even happen, actually.
That's
We
we
did
did
have-
specified time makes the
Right.
most sense, because that way they know anything that happens during that, they're off the hook, it's
Right,
our
right.
responsibility, and I think that makes perfect sense.
we did have a conversation about. For more than 25, could we substitute a second person as a pool attendant?
That was that
And,
conversation.
and then that led us to the conversation, well. We got a contract and they're probably not gonna allow another pool attendant in exchange for paying for another lifeguard, so. That's how that came up for us.
Yeah, they're not gonna want to accept every time.
No.
Absolutely.
Anything else, a motion, close the hearing, motion?
Any other comments?
I'll just say again, thanks for bringing it up now instead of like May. I appreciate it. Always thinking ahead.
We're here, we live not too far from here.
Any final comments, Jakar?
I don't think we need any motions or anything. I think it's just
Do we need a motion?
because we're not approving anything. We just.
Yeah,
had a
we're not
discussion.
approving next time. Yeah, next time they bring back the amended, we can do it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I'm good,
Oh.
thank you. And again,
Um,
you know, I always appreciate your well thought out and constructed presentations. Makes it much easier to say yes to.
great, thank you very much. So just to be clear, we need a pool permit for 2026, so we'll need a motion and a vote. If you wanna wait, we have enough time, right? When's the next
I think
hearing?
it's the 23rd, April 23rd, we'll see, I think that's what we
April
have.
or March?
No, we're in March.
April 3rd, 13th,
April 13th,
April 13th.
yes, 13th.
Okay, so in a month from now.
which gives us still.
If they're ready for that, if you guys are set with that.
Yeah.
13th.
Personally, I would appreciate having it all written out so we just know exactly what we're
Sure,
agreeing to.
no problem.
And as long as that works out with the permitting, which it sounds like it does,
Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean, I think that we've got, the contractor is gonna come in on April 15th, so we need that, the 13th will be okay for that. Okay, I'll get you the revisions and, I'll send them in red line, but I can't print them in red line. Well, you wanna continue the hearing till the
I was
13th?
gonna say we could make a motion to continue if you want, but otherwise.
Yeah, motion to continue the hearing on the RGE pool till April 13th.
Great, thank you.
All in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
Did she hear?
16th is not as the
I think so, she's off mute.
So we'll arrange.
Hi, Joe, can you hear?
Oh.
You all set?
I keep losing the signal, but yes, say it again, please. I didn't hear it all.
We made a motion to continue until the April 13th meeting.
And somebody did a second, so John, not John, but, Matt, you did a second?
I second, and we both voted already.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jafar.
Thank you, Jafar.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, John.
April
Once
13th.
again.
You guys have the date?
You must have been a very formidable lawyer, because he shows up so prepared just for this. Imagine meeting you in court.
He's awesome.
I've done this,
He's
I've
awesome.
done this for 40 years.
So his secret is he stops at the offices where the shredders are.
Yeah.
Comes in with just an empty folder, stuffs this, so he looks very embarrassed.
Right, and it's all black and white.
All right, well, that's gonna solve the rest of the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much.
That was great, Mom. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Deb.
Right, next meeting agenda. Meeting timeline for submittals. Right.
Up here.
Okay, there's on say, I think I'm Jack
Oh, I got
Carr.
my.
It was on
In the seat in the door. Thank you, again.
Thanks again.
All right, so it is 7:01 PM.
Sorry, can I just ask real quick, Jack, are you having a hard time hearing us because of like our connection or?
Yeah, the connection keeps, it like cuts out. So I don't know if it's, on your end or my end. I've changed, I went to a different room and it was worse, so I'm staying here, but every once in a while it just kind of glitches.
Okay,
So I don't know, again. My end or your end. But-
Okay. Just let us know and we'll repeat it. How's that?
Well, I didn't even hear. I heard the part about, no, we can't vote on it this time, da, 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 da. And then some talk about, should we make a motion? And then, then it was like, no, I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, da, 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 I'll come back. And then it came back and Matt's like, Jaikar? Hello? Like, oh, like something. It's like going to a country where you don't know the language and you kind of, but a word here and there, and then you kind of like try to intuit what they're trying to say to you. I had nothing to intuit with.
All right, so we had, a discussion about meeting timeline for submittals. So the select board has, say, a time limit for when people can put in for, say, variances or agenda items before their meeting, so that the board has time to review said proposals. This is probably more important for like septic variances and stuff like that, where we need to do a little bit of homework. Instead of just, hi, tonight I'm here to give you this variant, I asked for this variance, and we haven't done any homework. So I'm saying maybe we could apply their rules to our meetings as well, and have a timeline for if you want to have your variance or whatever on the next meeting, have a set date, like say the Wednesday before our meeting. Just to get us time so we can get in, we can see it and do our homework, because I don't know about you guys, but most of my homework is on the weekends. I don't have time during the week.
Right.
So if I get it during the
Yeah.
day on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, and all I had time, it came in on the weekend and I was like, do I want to be I looked at it, but I was like, it's Monday, we've always had kind of an informal, I mean, ever since I've been on the board, we've had an informal, you have to bring it in a week ahead of time, otherwise there's no guarantee we're gonna take it up. And that's just out of respect for the people who, you know, like you said, you do it on the weekend, someone else might do it, the night before or whatever. And, if it's something someone wants, they can pace that out. I mean, that's no different than any permitting process or, public presentation process. So if we need to formalize, if we need to put it down in black and white, which is probably a good idea. And, no, you can't, if you drop it over the weekend, we don't take it up.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to ask, I think, to just kind of drop something and expect people to be well versed on it.
I would say in case it's an emergency, yes, doesn't mean you don't have to have this.
Yeah, emergency is different.
Or
This is like-
emergency, whole different thing, yeah. But this example, even the variance document, I mean, very well done. But I would have liked to have time to have looked at it more than once. I didn't have time, given it, I didn't even, it didn't pull it up till Saturday night, and I'm like, I'll look at it, but I'm working Monday and Sunday I'm off, and so, if I'd had it earlier in the week, or 3 or 4 days before, I would have had a chance to look at it twice, which I always like to look at things twice. The first time is just kind of intaking, the second time is like, oh, I'm gonna ask a question about this or whatever, so. And I think that's reasonable. We're not asking people to do it a month ahead of time. But yeah, there's always exceptions to the rules. Emergencies are always an exception, so.
Yeah, we can set it for like general business, set a timeline for Wednesday, the week before a meeting. I think the select board is Wednesday, maybe on Mondays too, so.
That's very good to me.
Okay. So what do we need to do to formalize that? Just put it on our webpage and vote?
Yeah, no, I think putting on the webpage, putting on the agenda, even on agendas, that we publish, could probably have it on there too, just saying all documents need to be submitted no later than 7 days before time of meeting. And that way, over time, people will get it.
Exactly right. It'll take some time, but.
Well, the science now is that it used to be that it took 3 times to hear something for people to actually register it. It's actually now, I have a friend who works in neuroscience research, and he said it's now up to 7 times because everybody is so overwhelmed with information coming in. So if you have to look at that agenda 7 times before you get that you actually have to do a week ahead of time, that's giving us 6 months easily before people will register it even. So as many times as we can get it out there, I think is a good idea.
Next election cycle.
Okay. Awesome. It's like, we'll have this, but I do like the idea of putting it like at the top of our minutes somewhere. Isn't that what the select board does? They have a statement somewhere.
I don't know, but we should just mimic whatever.
Yeah, we'll copy what the select board does.
Why not?
Fair.
There's a saying about when you copy somebody, it's a sign of something. Compliment. It's a compliment when you copy, so why not?
Okay. All right. So next item of business, agenda proposed septic regulations changes. It is 7:08 PM. All right. So we're making with the.
This is a big regulation change, trust me. It's very big.
All right, so, we've been playing with changes to the septic regulations. So first, let's tell you the timeline. All right, so first, playing with AI, like AI does everything for everybody now. So put into AI, hey, how can we change the Millis septic regulations to protect the environment and protect public health and their drinking water? And it came up with this very long, extensive, document. So I went in and I tried to fix some of the stuff because AI is not always perfect. And then I sent it to John, and John's been trying to fix other things that are less than perfect. And then we asked the shared services group. So that was the group that helped us with the well regs.
Glenn.
Yeah,
Glenn
Glenn Ayers.
Yeah.
Who's
on the, when we did the well.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
he helped us with our well regs. And so we asked him to take a look at it and kind of give us recommendations.
Did you have him look at our current regs or the AI?
Both, he had both.
Tone, okay.
And then he sent us something totally different.
Yes.
Okay.
So, at this point,
I can bring it up on the screen if we want.
okay.
No one said it was gonna be easy.
No, it sounds gonna be easy. I don't know.
No.
Dan, did you get the, AI?
Yes, I gave him the AI.
Okay.
He
I
loves
saw
it.
I
You
saw
love
the
it?
AI
Just
stuff and it
Print that
was,
out and vote on it.
it was,
Really?
You said that. No.
That doesn't sound like that.
Makes it sound so easy.
the AI stuff was problematic. Half of it was wrong. Welcome to AI.
Yeah, it's about 75% accurate. The rest of it is not. The problem is you don't know what's accurate and not unless you research it.
What I
Well,
saw
that's-
was maybe 25% accurate.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
It sounded very good. Kind of. I like his explanations of why.
Yeah, AI can be very confident.
All right, that's
Well,
Glenn Ayers.
and this front is, I can tell this is AI right here. All the way down to,
That's Glenn Ayers.
yeah, I know that's AI, right there, just from,
Really?
oh yeah, from these dots. The way, oh yeah, I can tell. I can tell
Okay.
the dots and
You can read the dots.
I can read the dots. It's unbelievable. This right here could be his additions to it.
All right.
It's whatever. And but he has some interesting issues as well,
Okay.
so.
So sorry, just to be clear, this is from Glenn, or this is definitely AI and that's it?
That's from Glenn.
This is Glenn handed this in, but I said the first two,
So this is a combo,
questions.
Glenn running AI
Yeah,
and Glenn putting.
AI, and then maybe not for the second half,
Okay,
the actual regulation itself.
okay.
Okay.
So I mean, I may be wrong.
I haven't reviewed any of this sort of on purpose because I don't really, I think AI does a shitty job a lot.
Yeah.
Just asking, having not looked at it, I said, it's laughing. Should we just go back to our regs and decide what we want to put into it? Or is it worth going through and finding a couple key things in AI we might want to port over?
Well, that's what I was trying
That's
to
an
do.
interesting
Mine. Like
question.
I was putting our regs on top of the AI. And then just trying to put them all together.
Yeah.
So I made them a different color in the writing,
Okay.
and then
I just know that I've seen and tried to avoid people spending a lot of time going through the AI rather than saying, you know what, I could just do the work and probably be done faster than if I go through this.
I think our
So,
problem is.
I'm
we're
just
not-
throwing that out as a concept.
I was thinking about that, actually using the old reg and just adding to it inside it,
Okay,
little by little.
yeah,
Like we could read the front part, the first page, then the second page, I think it's 12 pages in the reg, I can't.
I personally think that would be more
And,
fruitful and you would also get it done more quickly, but again, that's just my viewpoint.
I don't know, I was sitting there
I
staring
think
at it.
AI is really great at writing songs and all sorts of stuff, but it's not so great with science.
I mean, we could do it that way, just start pulling off one section at a time,
yeah,
starting with definitions.
Well, so I wasn't really sure how you wanted to go about this. I saw this document come through and I didn't know if you were going to try to start from here or start from your regs, but if you want me to give you a markup of what I think changes to consider of your current regulation, I can do that for your next meeting, or if you wanted to try to start over. A lot of boards are throwing out the old 30-year-old regs and just starting over and deciding what's important and what's not, and just putting, a lot of them will take, the regs will say, okay, Title V is the requirement, and these are our additional requirements, and they dispense with all the rest of it. You know, all the rest of the language just kind of goes away. But whatever you guys decide you want to do, I'm happy to kind of chime in and give you my thoughts.
So I have a question. Could we use our regs, but use the AI kind of, you can tell it's AI, kind of bullet points to go, okay, you know, this better protect drinking water, wetlands and groundwater. Do our regs do that as they're written? If not, what would we need to change? In other words, use the AI bullet points as prompters to kind of either flush out ours or edit ours. Does that make sense? Because it does give a way, it does kind of check off boxes. And I would love to make them a lot more simplistic, like Dan was recommending. You know, so you don't have to feel like you have to be a lawyer of a sort or to read through them and understand them. That's both for boards purposes and people who are, you know, citizens purposes. I mean, I'm a firm believer that you should be able to understand the laws that you're expected to live by. And that would be nice if we could do that in this 30-year update.
Yeah, and if you rely on Title V as the foundation, you don't have to have all the underlying language. It becomes unimportant. You just focus in on the things that you want to do differently than Title V, and that's what your regulation triggers.
Right.
There's the estimated seasonal high groundwater and the climate change. That was interesting. You had got that from
Yeah.
AI? Or was it from Sherborne, or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both, because like, you know, groundwater is rising.
Yeah. A lot of the nitrogen stuff, I don't see it changing though. I think Title V does a lot with the
Well, no, they
nitrogen,
added.
it tells you what you gotta do.
Yeah, they added a bunch of it, but they haven't applied it to more than just the Cape in certain areas.
Right.
Like zone 2 for wells, like,
Well, the nitrogen requirements apply to any area that's in a zone 2 of a town drinking water supply or a lot with a private well and a septic system.
it kind of already says it there.
So one question, since you did talk to Glenn from Shared Services, should we go over things that he highlighted that we should consider either for inclusion or exclusion?
Well, I know what I'd like to exclude. It's right away. Okay, but that's just me. I don't know if we want to go over tonight, or maybe it's some later date, you know what I mean?
Sure. I feel like
we
we did do a good job with the
Yeah.
well stuff, so I would like to hear what he had to say.
Well, like, do you have the one that you marked up? Yeah,
Which
see,
one?
he's got some red stuff, see,
I put on the red stuff.
like, I didn't understand about inspection, like, he put about inspections.
What's
And
that?
I think John also had problems with that,
Okay.
cause he basically witnessed everything. What? Who's? I think it's farther down.
Disposal, that's interesting, but, the one I had I mean, this is more controversy become the Title V inspections. Additional requirements, basically, you have inspectors go out for a sales. He's saying the Board of Health should go out to witness it. I don't know many at all towns that do this. Western Mass, where he's from, it may be happening.
Sure.
But if you're gonna do it, you need to hire per diem independent contractor, to add in, to add into the regulation. And no, I said, the town will be brought into lawsuits if failures 6 months later occur when passed. And the town was there witnessing this as well.
Yeah.
And, they're licensed as is. Are there ones you don't trust? Yeah, there's some out there that you probably shouldn't trust. But I don't know.
But they have the town and pay for some employee to go stand there and watch while someone does a Title V inspection.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you say.
Well, right, I mean, that's the. If it occurs, then an extra hire would have to be, I wouldn't be able to go out there every time this happens, and, cause they're gonna say, we can only do it on the weekends and stuff like that, and. Yeah,
You're not gonna get approved for another hire, but it also sounds like it brings liability to the town.
it's possible, yes.
Which if the person doing it is already a licensed person for the state, then why do you need someone from the town to be
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me, their license.
a double? Yeah. I understand.
And just food for thought here is, in my experience, you don't have the problem where someone passes a marginal system. From what I hear, a lot of times it's the other way around. You know, some of these inspectors are connected with contractors and they fail marginal systems on purpose so that they can get the work of having to replace the system.
Right, and let's pretend that happens. The last thing we would want is John to be like, oh, I saw that and that didn't make sense, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's between the people that are having this done. That's not for the town to get involved in.
The D boxes every time, need a D box, need a D box. I'm like, okay, so they get reports with new D boxes every time. And then these are the ones I put in Reddit because he never has it in this definitions, nitrogen issues, groundwater, climate change, well distances. Cause you were asking for more distances, right? The wells. And septic systems,
I just put in what was in our regs.
depending on the perk tests. It was higher than what we have even in our regulations now. Right?
We close.
And percolation, new construction, that's the other issue that is, are we looking at 30 or 60? This is the other part to it. And there's some other things too with the groundwater pipes. I don't know, that's something that we deal with models today, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't often put monitoring wells in septic test pits unless you can't determine from soil morphology what the high groundwater is.
Yeah. Understand this one, this is the one that comes from the 12 feet separation. I don't know, this 4 feet. This is the one that says MPI greater than 2 or 5 or 2. 6 feet minimum for MPI less than 2. It just heightens the groundwater. Maybe if you read this, Dan, you could entertain us and figure out what this means.
I'm not sure,
As-
that doesn't seem like it belongs under as-built plans. I don't know what
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was wondering, what the heck is, it's under, yeah, as-built. I understand it.
I'm getting the impression that we might be better off starting on ours and then going to Glenn and say, hey, these are the updates, what do you think? It feels like it's complicated to pull out what he has in here, almost out of, kind of like you guys are describing here, it's almost like out of joint, it's just in different places.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Like, you have a lot of, I think it would be good to take your regulations and, like I said, try to simplify, boil it down. You define terms differently than Title V. It would be good to eliminate that problem and just kind of focus in on the important, there's probably only a dozen important thoughts that need to be flushed out. And then if you get through the regs and clean up a whole bunch of language initially, then you can focus on that stuff. And I'm happy to give you a markup.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do that.
That sounds reasonable.
I'm trying to find the original one that. Yeah. Seems like the AI was problematic.
AI and IA, you gotta, it's confusing sometimes. IA is the, the
Innovative and alternative.
innovative technology, yeah, right.
Right, so.
IA.
So I know Dan's highlighted a couple things that we should think about when we're going through them. Other than being old. Was there anything that triggered us to say we really need to go back and look at these? Are there a couple things that we feel we need to focus on up front to get right?
Well,
we could go-
the big questions were, perk rate, maximum perk rate, testing season. And I brought to your attention the question about how you treat shared systems. The rest of the reg, there's just a lot of unnecessary words in there. Like a lot of the new regs that people are adopting, like I said, they're taking all the old words and they're just throwing it all out and saying, okay, start with Title V and make the following changes. And some of them actually reference, okay, 310 CMR, whatever, change this section to this requirement. It's very specific to Title V because Title V has, I don't know, 100 pages of stuff that basically creates a super solid foundation for how you need to design septic systems. And all you really need to care about is what you want to do differently than Title V. So well separation is one of those questions. A lot of towns do in their local, one of the few things that many, many, many towns do, even when they throw out all the old languages, they do provide increased separation to well based on perk rate. And some based on whether you're above or below the well. So that's something to talk about. So that would be a fourth thing to ponder.
And I think also the fact that new construction versus upgrades,
Yes.
you have to think about that before you. Every regulation goes for both. Because the the upgrade seems as though they should be given more chances, so to speak,
Yeah,
than a new construction.
I'm just wondering, like, do you have the original draft from Dyson, not Glenn's, but the other one?
Oh, yeah.
Cause it looks totally different than Glenn's. It's draft A.
I think it's B, I think it's B, maybe because I'm just kind of, a little bit. Yeah, it's B.
No, the original one I said is A.
You're talking this? You're talking the AI.
Yeah, the AI one,
Oh, you want the AI on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
just so they see how different.
All right, yeah, it's different. It's different. It's different. It's interesting, very interesting.
It's the A, draft A.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how sometimes it picks out all these things all over the place. It's like,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. And you're like, man, this is unbelievable. They picked this up. Let's see. Let's see.
So one of the things I learned a couple months, maybe 6 months ago now, is when you're interfacing with AI, you can actually tell it to adopt a persona.
Huh.
And so it will give you information back at the level of the persona that you asked it to. So one example that we used was explaining genetic regulation to a layperson. And basically we put explain it to you like we were 5. And it gave you this weird analogy of socks and stuff like that. And then explain it to me like an adult, and it explained it slightly more, and then we said, explain it to me like an adult that is slightly smarter than the average person. Used those words, and the explanation was completely different. And then also you could tell it to adopt the persona of like, I am an expert at XYZ or not, and it really changes what you get out of it. I'm only telling you that as he pulls it up because it's sort of interesting that what you got here could be very different if you were to put in adopt the persona of Dan, who is an expert, engineer, et cetera, and what you get out might be better, might be worse.
I can play with it again, because we put in 3 different models.
Yeah.
This is the best one.
If you do say that you're Dan, though, it will get mad at you and say like that's illegal or something, but otherwise, you get the idea.
Innovative alternative, okay, right there. That's right, innovative alternative,
And system.
which is all the nitrogen. Well, septic systems,
It's like, it
huh?
created all this stuff like purpose and findings, and it's like
Yeah,
Well, that's another one.
climate change.
During the same thing that I told you, it gave me this paper and I looked for the paper, it didn't exist. And when I went back and asked it, it said, oh yeah, I made this up. So again, I'm a little hesitant to use AI.
Well, that's why I wanna fix it. Because I don't trust
did
it.
AI do the estimated seasonal high groundwater and the 0.5 feet?
Yes,
It's interesting,
but it sounds like it's a good thing,
yeah,
doesn't it?
it does.
Doesn't make
Wow.
sense though.
Well, that's what.
Yeah, it
D-
does. If you think about it,
DEP doesn't allow us to water our lawns in the summertime because we have low groundwater problems. So that's not really
You
a
might wanna water
thing.
your lawn in winter, I don't know.
I think the last thing I would caution us is I know we look at surrounding towns regs a lot,
Yeah.
and there's a good reason for that, but I think we need to be cautious that we, from this point on, don't know how they were generated, and so we just wanna be really thoughtful, like Dan's saying, about what we're reading and making sure it passes the smell test.
well, this estimated seasonal high groundwater has to do with the perk test as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
if you
and
do a
if you
perk
got-
test of seasonal high
Yeah.
groundwater.
you got less than 2, then it becomes like, 1.0 foot systems expected to retain. And beyond 260 years, I said, oh my God, what
They
is
get
it?
that from Title.
I don't know.
Is the Title V ESH high water for planing horizons through, I think 60. That's just its definition list, like it added a bunch of definitions. But
Total nitrogen, less than 10 milligrams per liter.
yeah, less than 10, which I thought is like
Most-
19.
Yeah, most of it's on 19,
Why is it
but they
saying,
really,
why is it saying 10? I think the new,
well, it's because it's the best available, the BANRT, best available nitrogen reduction technology.
Okay.
It's only 5 years old, something like that, I guess it's in DEP is, it's.
This is where you don't need to define all these things. Most of them are in Title V.
Yeah,
But like having a local regulation that parrots Title V is, it just gets you in the same issue that you have now.
yeah, like it got the with it in, well, and Title V, there was the one with you have certain slow perk and you have to do it overnight. Remember that? Like
The
20 years
overnights
ago.
the overnights went away 15 years ago. Title
Yeah.
V doesn't do
It
that
just-
anymore.
It just has it in there as part of the thing we wanna do. You know what I mean?
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
wow,
I don't know any town. I haven't done an overnight perk in a decade or
Yeah.
more.
I don't know if any towns do it this today, do you? I mean, I'd say there are some potential towns that might do it.
I don't know of any towns that do overnight perks now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
yellow is where I put in from our regs, red is where I put on our regs. that needs to be looked at.
It's interesting, it says 4 copies of complete engineered design
Yeah.
and plan prepared and stamped by all Massachusetts licensed professional engineers or registered sanitarians meeting all required section 5 and title 5. It's amazing how it figures out all these things and says, okay, I mean,
Is that a thing? Do you have to give 4 copies?
well, 3.
Or 3 copies?
Well,
I
that's
see
up,
3.
that's up to you, right? That's where your regulation matters, like. Most of these words are already in Title V, so you can have a very simple regulation that says, application requirements, submit 4 copies of the site, of the plan. You know, and the fee in the attached fee schedule, and it's as simple as that, and everything else that you have to have on a septic design plan is specified in Title V. There's no need to talk about locus plans and statements certifying compliance, you know, it's all already there.
Mhm.
Yellow is from all our current plans. Which
Mhm.
may not be necessary anymore.
Your compliance and occupancy. A lot of this is really something that we know, we get a certificate of compliance, you have to have this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Or you're not gonna get it. So. No,
Most of that stuff would be in Title V anyway.
Yeah.
Or should be.
Stone Hollow, that's interesting. Sure, I just, I said, add that green thing in there, but it's not.
It's a really important for people tests.
Oh, required. Hollow permit. Permit, I'm sorry, hollow permit. You ever heard of that, Dan? I know that's.
Pumpers, people that pump their tank.
Well, yeah, if you want to require a local permit, you know, something different than Title V requires, you can.
Mhm.
Is there a compelling reason to do that?
Not that I'm aware of. You have to you have to comply with state regulations to be able to pump sewage and dispose of it at a wastewater treatment plant.
Mhm.
Water could just be extra. Yeah, seasonal high water variations. Which,
This like teaches you about, it doesn't really give you anything saying this is what you do, this is, it
Yeah.
gives you like a,
it's more explanatory than
yeah, it's giving you some information.
what do we need to know?
You see, I don't really see the point to all of that language. Like, what's it doing, right? I mean, Title V spells all this stuff out, right? So you just got to say, okay, well, this is what we want to do differently than Title V. So at the bottom, the perking season, something you need to discuss.
Oh, right.
The perking season is not, there's no scientific really basis for that now. As I think I told you a couple of times, when the last time the regs were changed there were changes in 06. I can't remember what year it was, but the justification for keeping the perking season was so that the staff and the Board of Health would have time to do other paperwork.
Season for determining the estimated season. Ensure septic systems are installed in the right depth and distance from water table. Providing safety, liability. Plants. Yeah. Well, this is the one I was thinking of.
And that's the season, new construction. But that's all from our current regs, the yellows are from our current regs. So
Right.
I didn't say to do it,
Yeah,
that's just stuff from our current regs.
like the solar evaluator shall install monitor wells. That
Like,
was
is
the thing I
that,
was talking
is
about.
that
It was just,
necessary?
that was, yeah, and I said only if needed by. You know, talking with, needed by having, clear. Doxymorphic and model, et cetera, observation.
Yeah, you
And
can
not-
incorporate that requirement on a case-by-case basis if the agent determines that there isn't sufficient evidence of high groundwater.
Right. And that's in the, is that in the ground for a year or a certain time?
No, this is a Domi thing. Bill Domi. This is the Bill Domi thing. He wanted you to put pipes in and then go back between the 22nd and the 29th of the next month and take a reading.
Oh, that was May, that was March
That's-
to April, something like that, I forget.
That was back in the days when we dug a hole and tried to actually find water. That wasn't when we were looking at redoxymorphic features.
Yeah.
Helpful to know the history behind some of it.
Good example here, the top one in 5.3, which is from your requirement.
Yeah.
You know, you're digging a deep hole that's 10 feet deep. Frozen ground doesn't impact dirt that's 10 feet in the ground. If you saw frost deeper than 4
Yeah.
feet, it's a pretty miraculous thing.
Yeah,
So why does our reg say you can't do it when it's frozen or snow covered? Cause that's from our regs.
Yeah, I have no idea. If the ground is snow covered, all it does is it makes it much harder for the excavator to dig the hole. Once you get down below 4 feet, you're in ground that is never, ever, ever frozen.
well, I'll tell you, I was in a perk test in February 2013. Some really cold weather for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. They did perk test, they dug it up and it was like this. You know, they couldn't, they had to hammer through to get to the level they could perk. And unless it was less than 2, the damn thing froze right inside the perk hole, the water froze, and it's like, okay, we can't do anything today. Okay, you know that because it was freezing.
Right,
Oh,
you shouldn't run a perk in frozen soil. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's in Title V. I can check and see if it is. But yeah, in the actual physical frozen soil, you should not run a perk test. But if you're down below frost depth,
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, right, yeah.
there's no reason why you can't run a perk test.
Well, can you have like weeping somehow not come out, real cold weather and stuff like that, kind of thing?
Not really. You don't, when the ground is frozen, you don't, I know usually it's considered high groundwater season, but you don't really get into high groundwater seasons are more late fall and early spring through late spring. If you're in December or January or February, aside from being miserable because you're in the cold doing a perk test, there's no problem doing it. It's just, it's really it's not a great time to do it.
There's
From the
no side,
standpoint of the person who has to dig the hole and run the perk.
okay.
Yeah, I've never seen this before. This is some magical AI stuff.
2060,
It sounds,
when did it 2070, 2050,
why
2060?
2060?
2060, all right.
He's gotta have pulled it from some document somewhere, right?
We may have, maybe some kind of research or something, who knows? USGS
It didn't,
things.
well, maybe it does hallucinate and it puts things in there, it's not anything, but it sounds like it's coming from something.
I mean, the
Yeah.
logic of it doesn't make a lot of sense. We design septic systems to last as long as they're going to last. How do you design a septic system that's intended to last through 2060? I mean, this boils down to, do you want to increase the required separation of seasonal high groundwater? Right? It's either 4 or 5 feet under Title V, depending on whether it's more or less than 2 minutes per inch. do you want to do more than that? And, that's something that you should think about and talk about. But, as I've said to you, there's no magic to 4 feet and 5 feet. Every state does it differently. Some states require that the septic system be only 2 feet above high groundwater, 1 feet above high groundwater. There's an element of arbitrariness to it that Massachusetts settled on 4 feet and 5 feet. If you want more than that, you could do that in your local requirement. I don't think climate change is the justification for it, but you can do it.
Because we have different high, seasonal fluctuations in groundwater level. It's like,
Well, I mean, climate change just means more rain, a higher volume of rain, which in theory could mean higher groundwater conditions, but at the same time, we get our drinking water supply from the groundwater, so we're consuming groundwater. So, climate change is probably a good thing from a drinking water standpoint, right? It's bad for a whole bunch of reasons, but from a drinking water standpoint, it's probably good because it means more groundwater that people can drink and use.
Not necessarily.
contaminated prices up.
Actually, on the East Coast, the aquifers are depleting. So while we're getting more rain, that doesn't necessarily mean it goes into the aquifers. So, which is why stormwater control is so important, but that's, there are pockets of places where that's being done, but for the most part, that's the torrential rain doesn't have a chance to absorb even with good groundwater mitigation. So they've been documenting how the East Coast and of course the West Coast, because of, the water issues out there, are, they're looking ahead and saying, we've got diminishing aquifers. What are we going to do? So increased rainfall doesn't equal increased aquifer volume.
No, that's true. And consumption is why the aquifers are depleting. And basically, it's your small rainstorms that end up replenishing your aquifers because that results in much less runoff and much more infiltration. If you get 2 inches of rain, that's better at recharging the aquifer than if you get 8 inches of rain because 80% of that 8 inches runs into the Charles River and goes out to the ocean.
Right. And that's what's happening. I mean, we're getting more rain per events. And, so in other words, I mean, if you look at how, you can just, I look at it through the Charles River watershed community data, but I just notice it just in terms of how much I have to water now versus how much I had to water even 5 years ago. So really 2016 is when I remember we started getting into drought conditions here. And I'm sure, other parts of the country have been getting in drought conditions before that, but it has to do, like you said, Dan, it's better to get small, frequent, but that's not what we're doing, and getting a quarter of an inch doesn't do much of anything. So.
We have some good, with the snow melting, it's great for that.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, so let's pray for like 2 feet of snow and then
Maybe winter, and then
60
slowly
weather.
melting off.
Once every 11 years,
Yeah.
Can I put that on record?
which is the way it's been going. We haven't had a winter like this since 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 2015, we were not in a drought. Starting in 2016, and forward, we've been in a drought. So now we won't be in a drought this year, but then starting next year, we will drought conditions again. I don't even know if we'll be out of a drought because we've been in drought for so long. I don't know that one winter will replenish it enough, but but it's definitely, yeah, I mean, how can it not affect what any regulations regarding water management have to be shifting based on, it's a different pattern now. So, I think climate change is a factor in updating regs, but it's tricky how to do that because we don't really have enough data to, do it specifically. So You know, but that's the beauty of being a Board of Health. We can create something that's porous enough that we can adjust it, you know, from year to year too. So it's not like the US Constitution where we were supposed to live with it forever. So which I don't agree with either, but you know, I'm in the minority, it seems.
So the last one on this page is one you should think about too, the 5-year period.
Yeah, why is it 5 years? Does the groundwater change in 5 years? Does
No,
Where
so
is,
I'll just tell you,
Five.
where is
the
it?
last dot. So I'll tell you,
Fertilization? Okay.
digging a deep hole is a hugely invasive activity, right? You go out with an excavator and you dig a hole 10 feet deep. And if you've never seen it, you're digging a huge volume of dirt out of the ground. You look at it and then you put it all back in the ground. And what you're doing is you're disturbing the natural condition of the soil matrix. So, you know, if you run a deep test and a perk test that complies with current requirements for Title V, as long as those requirements don't change, there's no reason that you have to redo it in 6 years or 10 years. And I've had this with some lots in South End Farm where we, you know, that development took 15 years to build out. We did perk tests when we were designing the subdivision on a bunch of lots, and we had to go back in some cases 2 and 3 times and redo perk tests. And, you know, you're just unnecessarily disturbing the soil matrix, the natural soil matrix, in my opinion. And this is a requirement that I don't see in regs very often anymore.
Is there any reason to have a time limit on it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Is there what data suggests there's any periodicity to this, or is it like every 100 years the soil is gonna be the same?
The soil's been there for 10,000 years. It's not going to change. You know, you dig it up every 5 years, it's still going to look the same. So no, I don't believe there's any reason to put a limit on it. Again, you don't want to design a septic system that based on test pits that predate current requirements for soil observation by a soil evaluator. The PERC test hasn't changed in forever, but the requirements, the modern requirements for soil evaluation came in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. You wouldn't use test holes earlier than that for sure. But if you have test hole data that's done to current Title V requirements, it should be valid forever. And practically speaking, forever is never going to happen, you know, but you could have a test hole that was done 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It was done in accordance with current Title V requirements. There's no reason why you can't use the data. And I've designed septic systems using test holes that are 15 years old, and it's fine.
Would 1995 be the year?
I can look it up. I don't remember when they came out with those requirements. I think it was later than 95, but I'll have to check.
If we could get a date, because then.
Yeah, you certainly could include a date that
Yeah.
which is when Title V adopted those enhanced requirements for soil evaluation. That could be the date.
That feels reasonable.
Enhanced, whatever that date is, onward,
Yep.
yeah.
Want me to go down to the end where it has all the different things that are,
The grass,
well, it's the
Sorry, what was in red?
those are like my comments.
design.
okay.
Oh, that's like, it had about garbage disposal, we don't allow garbage disposal.
No, we don't.
Because, yeah, so, I don't think we have any.
Well, this is something you should think about though, because you don't allow garbage disposals by regulation. Do you think everybody follows your regulation?
No.
No, they don't. Some towns require every septic system, every new septic system to be designed for a garbage grinder because they know that homeowners are
50%
gonna
rate,
move
right?
in, and if they want a garbage grinder, they're gonna put it in. They're not gonna read your regs.
You also gotta pump every year instead of every 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can consider garbage disposals, yeah, this all stuff is like.
This is interesting to go through. This is the
Vertical separation.
Here you have the groundwater. Read this, Dan, it's kind of interesting, it's. 2 foot or less. Title V minimum separation 5 feet, Millis minimum, if we adopt this, 6 feet. If it's less than 2,
I'm trying to find.
greater than 2 to 8 minutes per inch. 4 feet and 5 feet, and then greater than 8 to 30. 4 feet and 4 feet. Greater than 30 to 60 MPI, 4, so these are the same notes. What do you think of this? You think this might be valid?
I don't
It's-
know that there's a scientific basis for this, but you know, Title V says if you're faster than 2 minutes an inch, which is basically sand or gravel, you need an extra foot of separation because the principal treatment occurs in the unsaturated soil profile. So, you know, in soils that the water can move through very quickly, Title V wants 5 feet of unsaturated soils to provide treatment. And then in anything slower than 2 minutes an inch, 4 is sufficient. So is there a scientific basis to jump 2 minutes an inch to 6 feet instead of 5 feet and 2 to 8 to 5 feet instead of 4 feet? I don't know that there is. It's certainly something you can do. It's not prohibitive. It's not gonna, you know, it's gonna result in more expensive septic systems, but it's not going to preclude people from being able to build a house on a lot. And it would, I would imagine, provide better treatment because there's an extra foot of unsaturated soil for the billions of bacteria to eat the sewage.
I think Sherburne has this right up the bat, right?
Yeah, I think that it might guy from Sherburne.
And I don't think they allow mounds at all.
Yeah, they
It's
don't
very
allow-
interesting.
We allow mounting.
I mean, if you don't reach that 6 feet, you can't get any.
Yeah,
You can't lift that
that's an
tall.
anti-development provision. That is explicitly to preclude development. You find that in the Sherbans of the world, where they don't want development, so they write these regulations to preclude development. There's no reason all the treatment occurs in unsaturated soil. It makes no difference whether it's in a mound or not.
This right here, this is the. Horizontal setback distances, I've been drinking water.
Yeah, it kind of made everything a little.
Public water supply, 400
feet, which I think is Title V.
Items and locations.
Like that's just its suggestions, make it 100, I think it's 100 feet now.
Well, this is incorrect in some respects. The Title V requirements are not accurate in a couple of places. I'd have to go through it to see. I know that you require an increased property line setback 20 feet versus 10 feet. Like bordering vegetated wetlands, the Title V requirement is 50 feet, it's not 100 feet.
Floodplain boundary.
Okay, yeah, this is the interesting one too. Well, setback.
Minimum well setbacks based on the perk rates. And that's what it was coming up with. The currents. Interesting.
Yeah, and this is something to talk about. I mean, I don't know. Do those come from Sherburne? I think that's some of these are excessive, but this is not uncommon in local septic regulations that have been modernized. Increased well setbacks based on percolation rate.
Kind of makes sense. You want further distance if it's, not gonna be.
Kind
Build
of
up.
yes and no, though. I mean, you got to understand that wells like a modern drinking water well for a lot is 300 feet to 800 feet into bedrock. So a septic system that is, on the surface of the ground, by the time the water gets down 800 feet into the bedrock, it's taken 50 years.
Yeah, I would argue anything that we deviate from Title V, we just need to understand what the scientific source is.
Yeah,
Because I get that, like, logically, it sort of makes sense. Right, move it further away, of course, that's good. But I just want to make sure that we're basing that in reality.
Yeah.
Especially because, maybe none of us are on the board in 5 years and people are looking at it again and they're like, well, they picked 200, it must be right. But they won't know that.
kind of like to put like the explanations, like a little explanation as to why it was chosen for, 200, this is why, 200. So future boards will know, like, well, this is cut based on this science.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is Title V never has been commented by DEP on what they
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
to choose this. They never said, here's the PhDs and here's, 300-page document that says this is what we did.
Yeah.
To make these decisions. You don't get that, which surprises me.
Yeah, so like with the well regs, they get the well, DEP's well
Right,
laws, but then they also have like a whole guide of how they came to all these decisions and
Right.
how they made their well regs, and you can't find that for septic at all.
uh,
It's like they never published where they came up with their numbers. Or their decisions.
Do you have any historical context on that, Dan? Like when these all came out, where people were like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Or everyone was like, yeah, this all seems like what's understood.
No, I mean, a lot of it is so old.
1995.
Yeah, that's old.
It may have taken 5 years for them to get 1995, but you never know what they did to get to 1995, you know what I'm saying?
Right, and it's evolved over the decades. I have all the old septic regs in my files, and it's just everything's evolved over the decades. And I know that I'm sure they did have some documentation when they made all these changes, as they commonly do, but it gets lost to time. Like the last time, right? I think, John, you reached out to DEP about, how did you get to going from 30 minutes an inch to 60 minutes an inch? And I think Tom Roach called him too. And the answer was, well, yeah, we don't have that documentation anymore. Because, it's too old. It was back before everything was scanned, and it's in a storage facility somewhere and nobody knows. But like I said, you gotta kind of, and this is where I can just kind of help you with guidance, like these well setbacks. Wells are sealed down to the bedrock. So you have a shallow aquifer, which is the water that's sitting in the soil matrix above the bedrock. And then you have the deep aquifer, which is water that takes years to work through all the cracks and crevices and fissures in bedrock. And the private wells are deep into that lower aquifer. It's very, very, very different than, where any effluent from a septic system ends up. It's so you got to think it through like that. It's not like you're drinking a well, and if you've got a septic system 100 feet away, somebody flushes a toilet and in 10 days you're going to drink that water. That's not the way it works.
Are the setbacks in case there's like some sort of damage to the well or cracking of the well, and it's.
Yeah, again, you gotta appreciate that a lot of these are done to preclude development, so it becomes more challenging to kind of decide. Like I would, I wouldn't have any issue with a local requirement that increases a setback to a well, from 100 feet to 150 feet in 2 minute per inch soil, but doubling it, I don't know that there's really any real good, compelling scientific reason to do that, especially if you understand how wells work.
Part of the problem is finding the evidence to say what these values should be. Like, where's the evidence? It's hard to pull them out.
Yeah, and there's no silver bullet. There's no conclusive document that says this is the way it should be. And if there was, everyone would do the same thing. You know, it's a subjective determination by the state on one part and by local boards of health on another part.
Makes it frustrating to try and do the what, regs.
It does.
The nation site sensitive would be applied to any zone twos or private wells anyway. So,
Correct.
Yeah, it's already in Title V,
so it's like, that's kind of like,
except there's more stringent ones going on down the Cape.
yeah.
I don't know if that applies to our part of the Title V, I think with the nitrogen. I think there's more issues down there.
I think they can decide to make them apply, but that'd be a DEP's gonna come in and say,
Yeah,
Yeah, because what's happening down in the Cape came through a court decision. So a federal court decision that was specific to the Cape. And it had to do because of the nitrogen levels that were not being addressed by Title V. So a group of 3 conservation groups filed in federal court to force the state to have to do that. So it's a what do you call it, a exclusionary at this point. That said, my sense is once it's like a mold spore. Once it finds a host, it tends to move. Well, and you know, it's just like Dan was saying earlier, you know, it's zone 2. I mean, zone 2 is essentially what was going on down in the Cape. And you know, so that at some point someone's going to mind and they'll file and there's precedent. So yes, it will show up on the mainland at some point. It's just not if, it's when. So
do anything controversial, let's take.
well, it is a horror show because the Cape is just, you know, it is a horror show because the systems are very expensive and they're trying to scramble and figure out how to do it through a septic system. But the technology is very spotty on doing it that way at this point. Now, you know, I mean, that's how systems get created, right? You have an unusual situation and you have to, you know, meet it. So, but there's a lot of scrambling going down on, you know, for the boards of health. And like in Wellfleet, the whole board of health resigned because because the select board told them, you know, they had to do one thing and the board of health is like, you can't tell us what to do. And, you know, we're the board of health and, you know, and the select board were in some ways trying to take care of the residents who were facing, you know, $80,000-$90,000 septic upgrades. And, you know, but their boards of health also get paid $80,000. So, you know, that
they
part.
tell me, right? Like
And if you're-
$90,000.
Yeah, and if you're the chair, you get paid 90,000. So, but I actually think it's okay that different towns have slightly different regulations because every town, there are different things that are important to them or they're dealing with different conditions, right? So, you know, Millis has 30% of our land is technically wetlands. We're going to have different regulations than a town that doesn't have 30% of its land, you know, officially classified as wetlands. So our regs are going to be different. And that's, you know, that's our homework. You know, what does 30%, having 30% wetlands, how does that tailor our updated regs? You know, and that's, so it's okay. I mean, I think it's, you know, it's just going to reflect what geography and geology are we dealing with per town.
Yeah, and a lot of Millis's zone 2 is in Seward areas, not all of it. Well 4, which is up by South End Farm, is an unsewered area. But a lot of the other wells are downtown
Right.
where it's sewered.
Down to the back into this, which is all the things. Just in this area. This is the area right here. Key differences from Title V. Not as it go. Designers, check those. This is the key differences.
Yeah,
I like the idea of looking at something like that when all is said and done.
I like a chart, like the chart might not be right, but I like a chart.
Yeah, it is.
Even if it's just for us, I think it would be good to be able to understand the changes that we made and justify why we did so.
Yeah.
I like the idea of keeping the chart, we just gotta fix what it says. But. All right, so next steps. We got all these different varieties of drafts.
We should talk with Glenn first and kind of just
Yeah,
go back over what we thought his report was.
his
whether or
report
not-
was confusing to me.
Yeah. And whether or not we can take our existing regulation and look at it and determine what needs to be changed, what needs to be taken away and stuff,
We wanna simplify
yeah. Right.
as much as possible.
What do you think we should get rid of the whole thing, Dan? Throw it away and then start from
Well,
scratch?
I'll send you an example of a couple of towns locally that have redone their regs and just basically referenced Title V and then gone on to stipulate what the enhanced requirements for that particular town are. You can see what you think of that, and then, then you decide if you want to just try to revamp your current regulation or just start over with something more clean and simple like what I'm going to send you. And then you can just focus in on these topics, right? Like there's 6 to 12 topics that you want to talk about, enhanced requirements for the town of Millis, and everything else you rely on Title V.
Glenn was saying that
Okay.
the plans he's been making are only 3 or 4 pages.
Yes, a lot of the new requirements are triggered to Title V, and there's only a couple of pages of additional requirements.
That might make everything easier to understand.
It
Like, why
does.
do we gotta? Detail. Okay, yeah, well, it'd be good to see those. All right,
Okay,
I guess,
I'll do that. I'll send that to John.
okay, thank you.
Make it big. Dan,
All right. Take a look at them and then we'll
Sounds reasonable.
start on working on it from there. All right,
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you.
Sure thing. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Okay. Okay, it is 8:13. We wanna try and get the minutes done real quick?
Do it.
Bust out those minutes.
Did I hear that we do have a meeting for the April already? I probably just forgot about it.
Well, yeah, it was April 13th, right?
Yep, I see it. I just wanted to make sure.
April 13th. We make a May meeting. May 4th. Just we book out the room. Check our house May 4th for the May meeting. Good,
Yeah, just had to find my mute. Yes, that works for me, my schedule. Thank you.
May 4th.
May 4th or something? Except the new,
The next Board of Health meeting, or not the next one, the May meeting,
oh, maybe in the next one is April
April
13th.
13th and then May 4th.
We're all gonna dress up as our favorite Star Wars characters, right?
Of course.
I know.
And the. Is the minutes.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
As an aside, we should definitely revisit what's written at 6:05 PM when we're either at the end of our reg discussion or whatever, and just,
Yeah.
because even if we disagree with it, at least we could go back and tell those guys, hey, we did look at what you said.
Multiple units. Perk season. And. Perk. Great. We did, I think. We covered all but the multiple units there.
And bedrooms have been. Dan. No. And bedrooms in the issue on Village Street. He's asking us whether or not we vary.
On variance for.
Yeah,
Instead of having a. Combined.
yeah. He's gonna bring that back up again, but funny feeling it will come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the multiple. See how other areas did it in Norway. See any changes?
So I have a request on the 605 where then under multiple unit systems, that whole thing. Can we be consistent with capitalization or not capitalization? So like, so Board of Health reg, no more than 5, yeah. So 2 bedroom, the word bedroom doesn't have to be capitalized. And then the next line, high doesn't have to have a capital H, I don't think.
Using,
One row down.
One we're down, where you're at. You account for high groundwater.
Yeah,
Specify all year with models checked to
to
account.
account, where is it?
You move your cursor down. It's like under perk season. The first line,
yeah, it's the first. Yep.
high groundwater.
Oh, I got it, maybe, yeah, that one. Let's see. Well, these capital requesting the same as title five there.
Yeah, sure.
Does AS have to be capitalized or not? I can't.
Yeah, no, that's, if it's a title, then, and it's fine to have all caps.
Well,
But
even the AS has to, as be
But it,
capitalized.
yeah, but if you're gonna do it there, then you're gonna have to do it with 2 and 3, but 2 and 3 don't have it. Why don't you make it simple and just not do caps, except,
Yeah, nice.
yeah.
We've written somewhere what the SAPHE and other stands for.
Yeah, yeah.
Their
Yeah.
program.
I know what it is, but I can't.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at it and I couldn't tell you.
Something for public health.
Public health, something.
I say, let's see,
Let me look at it right now, actually.
it's their program. Here,
Yeah.
state action, for public health excellence.
You got that already? How'd you get that already? What?
Google,
You just Googled it? You just Googled it? Okay, that's it, right?
yes.
State action for public health excellence, yeah.
We write that down somewhere? Like where? Right here, after the 2.0?
They just put in parentheses, state action, public health excellence,
Action?
action.
Jeez. Public health. And what's the E again?
Excellence.
Excellent, okay. Yeah, wow.
Okay, right.
And then you'd have to do that the same for the MAHB too, right?
Oh, yeah, Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. Yeah.
Right.
Massachusetts. Yeah,
Caps lock.
oh, jeez. Unbelievable.
You still good caps?
Ah. Thought I just disconnected that. Okay, cap off.
Oh,
Nope,
Cap logs.
what
What the heck?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine, I'll be capital ones.
yeah, but what's going on here? Why is that doing that? Wow, maybe.
You're putting it someplace else.
What the heck?
Yeah,
You have caps lock on?
it keeps trying it
I
out.
keep trying to unlock it. Caps lock, caps unlock. That's the same thing. Escape. See.
Can you hold down shift? Just trick it to doing the opposite?
No. It's like locked on caps, all right, yeah.
What?
Caps shall be. It could be caps, that's fine.
Wonder if it's in the same area, maybe it's the area. Aha! See, down here will do, won't do it down here though. What is going on?
It's copy and paste.
I was gonna say, can you write it somewhere else and just copy paste?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't write it.
It is.
It's weird though, but
it's weird. Because it's training. Ah. No. I don't know.
we'll just,
Can you just do it on the next line, Mike?
Put on the
Mike,
next,
you go AHB and just.
Like this right here?
Yeah.
So if you go to
No, put it,
so up here where it says, you just put it like here.
Oh, yeah, okay, right. Ah,
That's the whole document.
Massachusetts Association
of health boards.
of,
Of health boards.
all right.
Perfect.
Who is PhD?
Public health director.
I know. I've got a PhD, right?
I do have a question on the fourth line down. It says methodologies do include the six. I assume that means the six
Six that are in.
test methods or whatever.
The 6 methods made that are in section.
Where is it again?
Two more lines down from your cursors. Yep.
6, including the 6
Methods.
methods.
For 6 tests. Yeah. Tests.
Um,
6 tests.
is it clear in the last sentence?
I would say director instead of PhD in this. Because PhD, there's some links, I would say director, but it's up to you guys.
It's in, it's, I don't know
At
if
the
acronym is the
top.
right word, but it
Yeah,
is
right,
explained
yeah.
on top what it is. I just wanna make sure that in this paragraph, it's clear what we did, cause it says voted unanimously to accept to section 7.4. I know we're talking about the well regs, but I just wanna make sure that's clear. So if you guys think it's clear, fine, but if not, maybe we need to add well regs or something.
Right, instead of it came to attention for health team testing methodologies. That were recommended. Actually, about regs.
Yeah, so testing methodologies, because that's how it's used in the title, so it will make it seem clearer. So EPA 537.1 testing methodology.
It says 5371 up above too, and it says 71.
Yeah, maybe just after paragraph 3, we could write of the Millis updated well regulations or something, so the very last sentence. Right for the period.
What's that?
Yeah. I would recommend adding after paragraph 3 where it says the updated Millis well regulations or something, just so it's really crystal clear what we did.
You?
Yeah.
Of the updated,
Yeah,
Yeah. The updated one?
well, regulations.
so take out take out the period after paragraph 3, John, and then just keep it all one sentence. Yeah, there you go. Of the.
And we'll sense of this. 3, the updated well regulation, that it.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's good. Be clear what paragraph 3 we're talking about.
Do you want well regulations with an S? And then a period?
Wells,
No, regulations.
okay,
Yeah, perfect.
Any changes?
So that says that the next meeting is April 9th.
Oh, yeah, this wrong.
I have it as the 13th. I don't know if we changed it or if that's just the wrong date.
I think it is April.
But I
It
think,
is April 13th,
yeah,
not April 9th.
so March 9th is right, to change April 9th to
Yes.
13th. Might be worth double checking. We really have the room booked just in case.
mhm. I think she did, she had up on April 13th for like 2
Oh.
weeks,
Okay,
which, and she checks with it to make sure that we have a,
okay.
free room, so.
She would have noticed if it was a
Yeah.
Thursday instead of a Monday, so I'm sure she would have already asked you.
Yeah.
Of course, looks good to me.
All right. Happy for. Minutes, okay, motion to accept the minutes as amended,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, minutes approved, and the last thing we gotta do is director's report.
No, this is pretty short. Doing service inspections, free. Two for Angelo. Luca. And Nevada. Tea shop,
Oh, yeah,
they just opened it now, I did a pre-opening. They're very good, they have a very good situation, they're very good. What was it?
Just some tips.
I know, there's nothing going on, it was, usually February becomes,
Yeah.
there's not much going on. I
Didn't
didn't
say
say,
never did anything.
yeah. Very few people do stuff over the Fridays, but. Housing, I had one housing. And
Is that a new one or that's a continuation of the previous?
it's a new one,
Okay.
yeah. Stony Brook, Building 9, Apartment 3. Well testing, we have the first person who's gonna have a PFAS because they're selling the house, they're drinking well. It's really interesting. Yeah. I have to witness all the tests and all that, and they have to come back with a certain amount of PFAS and radon. It'd be interesting. And then these are, places that, meetings, things of that nature. Seminar Title V, we went, myself and Carol went to it, decent, it wasn't bad at all,
yeah, they're good.
yeah. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Is Heather normally on the miscellaneous items or is there something?
I put it there just in case she does something, she wants it on there.
Oh, okay, okay.
Done.
I just didn't know if there was anything going
No,
on.
no.
Sure.
All right. Well. Got no other business. All right, so we ready to adjourn?
I think so.
Okay. Motion to adjourn the March 9th meeting of the Mont Billis Board of Health. We get a second.
Second,
All in favor?
hi.
Meeting adjourned.
Have a good rest of the week. Great temperatures.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Smooth on the way.
yeah.